Hello everyone. We know glycogen is the storage form of glucose in our body. Let's understand why its structure is so special. Because in biochemistry, structure determines the function, and glycogen is a perfect example of this principle. Now let's look at the structure of the glycogen. First, look at the linear structure. Glycogen is a homopolysaccharide, which means it is made entirely of one type of sugar, that is glucose. The glucose molecules are connected by two different types of glycosidic bonds. The straight portions of the chain are joined by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkages, while the branch points are formed by alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. For simple comparison, think of alpha 1,4 bonds as the main road and alpha 1,6 bonds as the side streets branching away from the main road. Glycogen synthesis cannot begin from nothing. In the center of the every glycogen particle, there is a protein called as glycogenin. Glycogenin acts as a primer, attaching the first few glucose molecules to itself and providing a foundation upon which the glycogen molecule can grow. A new branch is introduced approximately every 8 to 12 glucose residues through an alpha 1,6 linkage. The branching enzyme transfers a short segment of glucose residues from one chain to another, creating a new branch point. As the glycogen grows, these branches multiply, producing a highly compact tree like structure. Now, the important question is, why does the body invest energy in creating so many branches? There are three major reasons. The first one is compact storage. Branching makes the glycogen extremely compact. Thousands of glucose molecules can be packed into a small intracellular space without affecting the osmotic pressure significantly. This allows the cells to store large amounts of glucose efficiently. The second reason is rapid synthesis. Multiple branches create many ends where the enzyme glycogen synthase can work simultaneously. As a result, glycogen can be synthesized very rapidly after a meal. The final reason is rapid breakdown. This branching also creates numerous non reducing ends. When the body needs energy, the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase can attack many of these ends at the same time. This enables the rapid release of the glucose units during the exercise or fasting or stress. Then, during glycogen breakdown, glycogen phosphorylase removes the glucose residues from the non reducing ends. That is what we have understood so far. However, the enzyme cannot cut very close to a branch point. As a result, a small, highly branched fragment remains. That residual structure is called as limit dextrin. To completely degrade the glycogen, the debranching enzyme must remove these branch points. Now, coming to the types of glycogen, many students memorize that the glycogen is stored in both the liver and muscles, but each of them have different physiological roles. Let's understand this important concept. This diagram compares two major glycogen stores of the body, that is the liver glycogen and the muscle glycogen. Although both contain the same glycogen molecule, they serve completely different metabolic purposes. The liver glycogen serves the whole body, whereas the muscle glycogen serves only itself. Now, let's start with the liver glycogen. The primary function of the liver is the maintenance of the blood glucose concentration. After a meal, excess glucose is converted to glycogen and stored in hepatocytes. During fasting, when the blood glucose begins to fall, the liver breaks down the glycogen and releases the glucose into the bloodstream. Look at the blood vessels shown here. As the blood glucose decreases, liver glycogen undergoes glycogenolysis. The released glucose enters the circulation and becomes available to all the tissues, especially the glucose dependent organs such as brain and RBC, red blood cells. In this way, the liver glycogen acts as a buffer against hypoglycemia. An important clinical point for examinations is that liver glycogen stores are limited. Under normal fasting conditions, the liver glycogen is usually depleted within approximately 12 to 18 hours, often around 18 hours. After this point, the body increasingly depends on gluconeogenesis to maintain the blood glucose. So remember, liver glycogen is a systemic glucose reserve. Its job is not merely to store the glucose, but also to maintain normal blood glucose levels for the entire body. Now let's move on to the muscle glycogen. Unlike the liver, the muscle glycogen is not designed to support the whole body. Instead, it serves as a private energy reserve for the muscle itself. When a muscle contracts, ATP demand rises dramatically. The muscle glycogen can be rapidly broken down to provide the glucose for glycolysis and ATP production. The generated energy is used locally within that muscle fiber. During the initial phase of the moderate exercise or intense exercise, that is the initial 30 minutes, the muscle glycogen is one of the most important energy sources. It provides rapid ATP production before other fuels become dominant. This is why athletes with depleted glycogen stores often experience early fatigue. Now, the question arises that if the muscle contains so much glycogen, why can't it release the glucose into the bloodstream during fasting? The answer is that skeletal muscle lacks the enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase. Without this enzyme, glucose 6 phosphatase cannot be converted into the free glucose. As a result, muscle glycogen can only be used within the muscle itself and cannot contribute to the blood glucose maintenance. Now, coming to the high yield exam points, there are three high yield exam points, of which the first one is liver contains the enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase and can release the glucose into blood. Whereas muscle lacks the enzyme glucose 6 phosphatase and cannot release the glucose into the blood. Therefore, this single enzyme difference explains the distinct roles of liver glycogen and muscle glycogen. So remember, liver contains glucose 6 phosphatase and muscle does not contain glucose 6 phosphatase. So the second high yield exam point is about the glycogen concentration. What do you mean by that? Per 100 grams of liver tissue, the glycogen content is 10 grams. So 10 divided by 100, 0.1. Then per 100 grams of skeletal muscle tissue, the glycogen content is only 1 to 2 grams, 0.02 or 0.01 grams. So the concentration of the glycogen content, when we are talking about the glycogen concentration, it is much higher in the liver compared to skeletal muscle. Earlier we talked about glycogen concentration, but now we are talking about amount of glycogen stored in the body. There is lot of skeletal muscle mass in the body compared to the liver. The muscle is having greater glycogen mass in comparison to the liver, but liver has higher glycogen concentration compared to muscle. So you have to remember two key terms, that is the glycogen concentration and the glycogen mass. Coming to the clinical integration, during an overnight fasting, liver glycogen helps to maintain the blood glucose and supplies to the brain and other tissues. But during exercise, muscle glycogen breaks down and provides rapid ATP for muscle contraction. So, what are the sources of glucose in these two situations, overnight fasting and during exercise? The same glycogen molecule performs two completely different functions depending on where it is stored. So, in the next video, we'll be talking about the glycogenesis. If you understood the video, like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.